What hair product do you use?
I've got some wax that I use from Belgium. Just put my hair and then I spray it a little bit with hairspray, and that's it. There's not a lot. It takes me half a minute.
I was asking,
How long does it take you?
I wake up like this.
Yeah.
The official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the official Man City podcast. My name is Liam Loftus and today we are joined by Paul Dickov, who is my co-host. Paul, how are you?
I'm really well, actually. Looking forward to today. One of my all-time favourite players, not just for City. So, like always, for our listeners and our viewers, looking forward to how his journey started from the very beginning to where he is now.
And now we go from one City legend to another. We're joined by...
He's a proper City legend.
we are joined by Mr. Kevin De Bruyne. Now, we're going to find out a bit about him, a bit about his footballing journey, his time at City, and you know what? I just want to get to know more about the man that is Kevin De Bruyne.
It is, and that's the best thing I've found about being involved in it with the players we've done previously. It's getting to know them as people, and we all know how wonderful footballers they are, how they are on the pitch, how they are on the training ground, but it's really interesting for everybody to find out what they're like off the pitch.
And here he is right now.
De Bruyne now steps in, hits a shy foot into the corner of the net. You know who's back, Kevin De Bruyne. I tell you what, it looked like one of those positions where you thought he was going to go for power. Oh no, sir, he rolls it into the corner of the net. KDB, we missed you, we love you. It's 2-2.
Kevin, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to start from the beginning of your footballing journey. Like, talk to me about growing up and playing football. What was that like for you?
I would say fun. I think I still grew up, when kids were just playing outside. There were no, iPads, computers were not really there yet. So I just play outside, a good community, playing with all the kids on the playground, playing in the garden. So I've been playing football since I've basically running around. So for me, it was a lot of fun.
You spoke about your community there, growing up in Genk, your first club, Drongen.
Yeah.
How much pride is it to play for the team you grew up around, sort of thing?
Well, to be honest, I only played there for 2 years, so it's like the local club. I wasn't even allowed, I think, to play because I think I started when I was 4, and then I just played for them, and I think half of the time the pitch was underwater because it wasn't great. But I had a good time, and now I'm more close to the club because obviously I do my tournament there. So it's been a very nice process to start there and then to do this now, back for the communities. It's really nice.
You've stolen my next question. I was going to ask about the KDB Cup. How important is it you to give back, for the community and for the club?
To be honest, it's a social project. It's not something that we make any money out. It's quite expensive for the club to create this tournament for all the clubs to come in and to get everybody involved with it, and sponsors help. And we've got about 400 volunteers who work at the weekend. So it's quite a big project. But I've got the name, but I'm the side piece. For me, I'm not important. It's the teams that come and the little kids who play there, that's important. Or a lot of future superstars from all over the world, they come over and they show their talent, and it's quite nice to see them all coming to my little town and showcase it. And I think this year we had about 15,000 people coming, watching at the 2 days. So it's great.
And we just said there that you're the side piece to it, but it must be something that you're really proud of.
I am, because obviously when we started, they came with the idea, are you interested? I'm like, okay. Not knowing what effect it would have, but now you see the magnitude of how many people are involved with it and how proud people are, gives me very nice feeling. And I'm just trying to get sponsors in and make a name for it, but then in the end, the organization has to be great for all the big teams to come back, and we've been able to do this 6 or 7 times now. So it's been growing.
Did you expect it to get as big as it is?
No, not at all. No chance.
Right, let's talk you and Man City. You're coming up to a decade here. That's unbelievable. Like, time's flown, right?
That's a long time, isn't it? No, it's... I don't know how to explain. You know, you come here with the hope that when I came into City, I hoped to stay here for a longer time, but I never expected me to be here for 10 years. You know, I've come here, and my wife is pregnant. I've got 3 kids now, all born in Manchester. One is 8.5 now. Go to school, all 3 of them. So you know, it's my home. We've been really happy here, and yeah, to be honest, a lot of great memories, a lot of trophy winnings, you know, big games. So I don't think it could have. Yeah, it always can get better, but you know, I appreciate everything that this club has done to me, and you know, for my family and everything. So I'm proud also.
When you first came, did you feel as if you always feel as if you've got a point to prove as a player? But did you feel after what had happened at Chelsea that
I felt a little bit more pressure?
Yeah.
Not really because I was afraid, but it's just, you know, the little outside pressure that was coming. But I felt also that when people were talking from the outside, or press or whoever, they didn't really watch me and what I did at Wolfsburg, because let's be honest, people in England don't really watch the Bundesliga.
No.
And I grew a lot in a year and a half, and I know it's quick, but I also trusted myself to do well. And then the first season was really good for me, and it just grew on from there. And yeah, now we're here.
How did the move to City come about? Like, had an unbelievable season at Wolfsburg. Was there rumblings about it before, or did you just...
Well, I think it was a long process in the summer, because there was 3 teams involved with Bayern and PSG, and for me the feeling was always City. They pushed the most. There was the best feeling for me, and you know, with Cheeky handling the way that he did gives me more security. You know, the otherwise was more business. It felt more personal when I spoke to Cheeky. And when he explained me the project, then I felt, you know, with the guys coming in, we were like, I don't know, the second wave. You know, after the takeover, we had the first wave with Yaya, Vinny, you know, Koen, all these guys who did it. And we were like maybe the beginning of the changing of these guys. And I felt really good about it, that I would be able to do that. And then, you know, and then it just grew from there.
Obviously, you came here to win things. Could you ever have dreamt that you would have won everything that you possibly could?
No, you hope for it, but I don't know how you can hope like the last 7 years win 6 titles.
It's incredible.
You know, it's so hard to do, and I think people maybe underappreciate sometimes, because when you're doing it, it seems normal to do it, but then when you really reflect on what we have done as a team, it's hard work. You know, it's. People always say, "Oh, can they do it again?" But we have done it a lot of times again. And the year that we've not won it, Liverpool had 99 points, so they were just better that year than us. But you know,
that's incredible, isn't it? When you think about
crazy.
it.
I think that's one of the things when you do it so often, especially like outside noise, opposition fans. That, well, it's easy. You're Man City, of course you're going to win. But it's like on the ground, surely it's not. It's never easy, right?
No, I think, you know, from outside it's hard, but I think as a football player, you know, or when you win things, it's hard sometimes to do it again. It's not physically; it's sometimes just mentally. You're tired, and I think everybody can go even like 4 times in a row. Nobody has ever done it, so that says it all about how hard this is. And every time we play against somebody, they want to beat us, you know, they want to beat against City, they want to beat the champions. So it's always harder to push yourself. But I don't know, the team finds a way just to, you know, try and push for it. Doesn't mean we're going to win it this year, but we're going to try and do it again. And it has to come from yourself. I don't know if somebody else can really push you. Obviously, you got the coach with Pep, but the players also need to want it. If they don't want it, like, it's not going to come.
How important is it? Because people always talk about on the pitch and how good we are, but the dressing room, and every player we've spoke to talks about how good the dressing room is.
Yeah.
That goes such a long way, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think obviously in the 10 years I've been here, I've seen many great players, but I've never seen many egos.
Yeah.
I feel everybody knows everybody's important, I cannot play for 3 weeks, and I know if the guy who plays in my position plays really good, he deserves it. So I need to make sure that I handle myself in the right way towards my teammates and everybody else, to conduct yourself, on and off the pitch, and makes life so much easier. It helps, and obviously sometimes there's bust-ups. You need to have
You need that
bust-ups.
sometimes, though.
So there have to be some arguing or maybe fights, whatever, but it never really goes outside of that. So I love it.
From when you joined to now, how much do you think you've developed and changed as a player? I mean, as a man as well. Like, do you look back at that point and you're like, well, I was young, I was a boy still, and now it's like you've grown up and you've changed as a player?
Yeah, I think obviously you change as a player, you grow in certain aspects. I think it's hard for me personally to say what I'm grown in, like what I got better in. I think obviously, like I said, I came here, had no kids, I had no real responsibilities than myself, and now got family, you got all different things, and
It changes you as a person, doesn't it?
it does. I think you can, it when you have kids.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain it to anybody who has kids. It changes in a way, but then it helps you sometimes, because I think when you're young, it's just about football, and now you come home, you lose a game. It's perspective. You get a different perspective on life, and I think it's great. I think it's great having kids. I enjoy it. I already have 3, so it's good.
Do you feel now you're a constant? Like you said before, there was players, you're in the second era of the takeover sort of thing. You had Kompany, you had Kun, you had Yaya. Do you feel now when players come in, you're that constant? You're the beacon. They go, oh, Kev's done it before, we can go to him for things. Do you like how that role's changed for you?
Well, I think it's a natural process. I think you also grow in that process. I think when you're 24 years old, nobody really comes to you. You go to Vinny, you go to David, Fernandinho. These are the guys who've been there a long time. I came here with Righty, Joe Hart. They were still, these guys were like the legends of the club. And now these young guys ask sometimes, or how things go in this club, or they probably look at you. How do you conduct yourself? How does the club work? So I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a constant. I'm just a part of City, and I'll take it as it comes. I just enjoy my time, and I'm getting a little bit older. I know that, but I'm feeling good. So that's the only thing.
What about the younger ones coming through, as in Oscar, Rico? And there's some fantastic talent coming through.
I think it's been loads of talents coming through. Obviously, you have some guys who will come to us and perform at our level, but even like just maybe the level a little bit below, there's been so many guys where you say, oh, they could be really good players and they have a great Premier League career or somewhere else. There have been talents coming through every year, but then you have like Phil, like Rico, like Oscar. They have that little bit level.
Special talents in there.
Yeah, if you want to play for us, you need to be exceptional. And they are exceptional at this age. So if they do well, they probably have, a top career. I had to start in Belgium and I had to work my way up. They already had the top club, so they're probably way ahead where I was at that time. So, and they're playing.
I was going to say, do you think the bar is higher now to be a young player coming through? You've got to be exceptional.
Well, the bar is what the team's level is. That's not disrespect to any other teams. Like for me, if I played in Belgium, the level is lower than it is playing for City, playing for titles and Champions Leagues and cups. And but they also have the facilities, that we didn't have at that time in Belgium also. But you still have to prove yourself. Football is a big business. It's hardcore, but once you are in that business, it's a wonderful life.
I want to talk about your return last season against Newcastle. I feel like I'll chew anyone's ear off who will talk about it with me. You you're a player that sort of strikes fear into opponents' hearts, and that game was like, oh, De Bruyne is back, like everyone's on blast now. Do you feel that effect? Do you let the outside creep in, and it's like, look, I'm back, I've hit the ground running, let's do this, let's press on?
I don't know how I really look at it. Whenever I'm playing, I try and make a difference. That's how I see it. I try to take an advantage against the other teams. I don't know if people fear me or not. I don't really care if they fear me. I just want to play the best that I can play. And I was out for a long time, and I felt when I came back, I had that hunger, desire again, like to show like I'm back here. And then obviously the Newcastle game for me was the best way to come back, to come back after 6 months of real injury, and then struggling the year before in the last couple of months was like, for me, such a boost to come in that game and, win the game together with Oscar. It's hard to explain it, how that feeling, but even like just warming up in here against, I think it was Sheffield, but like the whole stadium like applauding you, it was a weird experience, but it was special.
I mean, this is one for probably both of you. What's it like coming back from injury and then hitting the ground running? How much of a boost is that? Because like from like my standpoint, from a fan standpoint, like of course that's what you want, but you don't see the months or the weeks before all the effort. Like, how much of that of a relief is that almost?
Well, it gives you a confidence boost because I was away for almost 6 months, and I'm training on by myself in the gym.
It can be a lonely place sometimes.
It's a lonely place, but I was able to mentally switch off. I felt like, obviously I had injuries before, but I'd never really had something like this where I was able to give my body also a rest, where obviously I had the hamstring, but the rest of my body was also able to heal a bit. And that when I was injured, we made a plan where I can enjoy my life outside of football. It doesn't mean I had to do crazy, but I could go on a holiday and train in Dubai. When they had 2 weeks off in October, I was able to get a weekend away, to the lakes. I went to I did things and saw things that I'd never been able to do since I've been a professional footballer. So for me, it was a good time to rest, but also mentally rest. And when I came back, I was ready to come again, and I was able to get all the hours that I've put in, do it back on the field. So it was a very bad thing, but I tried to spin it around in a positive.
I was going to say that because the season before you were playing in one leg, weren't you? That was part of the season as well.
Yeah, since the Munich game, it was just hard. It was hard to maintain. There was a lot of stuff happening in family with grandparents and death and all that stuff. So I was flying up and down to Belgium during Madrid games and all that stuff. So I was mentally exhausted after the summer, and then obviously the injury came, and I was like, okay, time to reset, and we'll see what happens.
I think that's something we forget as fans. You see someone injured, right, they're going to be back in 6 weeks, and that's what you think, once their body's healed, they're back. But the mental side of things, you completely...
Yeah, but even with last year, I felt being out for 6 months, you come back and people think you're going to be like this. Obviously, Newcastle was great, but then I had some games where I was like, my body's really hurting. I've not played for 6 months. I'm not able to do this for the moment for every 3 days, but I knew, after these pains of coming back, I just needed a really good Euros where I was physically top, and then a good break in the summer. And now I feel like I'm back to what I was before. So let's hope that this keeps going.
Right, let's talk teammates. I'm going to start with Rodri. How good is it to play with a player of that caliber?
No, he's been unbelievable. I think every year he got better also. I think when he came here, I don't know, it was 18-19, where we were struggling a bit, and I think he was trying to find his place a bit, but I think after a year or so, you saw every year he was taking these steps, and now he's a constant. He's like the main guy in the way that we play football, so it's really important, and then obviously we had some moments when he wasn't playing that we were struggling a bit, but obviously that says it all about the way he has been.
I'm going to say you don't want to put like too much pressure on someone's shoulders, but it is a miss when he's not there, isn't it?
Yeah, he has been a miss. I think we're finding now ways to cope without him, but obviously last year there was a moment when he wasn't playing, we were not really doing that well, so it was that important for us. But that is, says it all about the way he has been performing and the way he has been for us.
Another player we've missed and who has returned, Ilkay. I mean, for fans, we're absolutely buzzing. Is that what it's like within the team as well?
I feel like it's just been normal, He's been away for a year, like been on a holiday, come back and slotted it way back in. I don't know, it just feels normal. I think, with the way it went when he went away, and then obviously I think it was more like a contractual situation than a really wanting to depart from both ways, and sometimes that's how football works. And then craziness of football, in Barcelona, and he comes back here and he slots in, like he's never left, been here 7 years or something. So he's been clutch, won those titles, so let's do it again.
Talking titles, doing it again, what are the ambitions this season?
Winning, 5 in a row.
Yeah.
You want to win every game, every title. We know it's hard, It's you're mostly not able to win everything, but the goal is to win, But you want to win this weekend. You can't really look too far ahead. Only when you're like close to the end, you start thinking about double, treble, whatever. But even then, it's hard to do. But I don't know. The hunger is there from my side. I feel the team is in the same shape, and the manager is the manager. He will always push us. So, hopefully.
Right, we've got some questions that have come from fans. These ones are from YouTube, and the first one is, what hair product do you use?
I've got some wax that I use from Belgium. Just put my hair, and then I spray it a little bit with hairspray, and that's it. It's not a lot. It takes me half a minute.
Hey, I was asking,
How long does it take you?
Well, I wake up like this.
Yeah.
What sport or hobby do you do in your free time? And that is from Imran.
I have to say, this summer I played a lot of paddle
What again?
with my friends.
You good?
I think I'm all right. Good. I don't know.
Such a good game, isn't it?
It's so good, But you need 4 players on the same level, a little bit, to have like the balance of the game.
See, I love playing it, but I just keep getting lobbed all the time, so I'm too small.
But it's all right. Even getting lobbed is fine. You just have to run back, don't you? I would say also maybe I play golf a bit, but I need to take lessons now. I think now my kids go to school every day. Maybe got some time to do lessons, but I have to stay off the golf course. I just have to do the practice now.
Just get yourself to the driver range and just no qualms, off you go, hit a few balls, get yourself home. Sam has said, what advice do you have for someone who wants to take set pieces like you? He practices, but he can't seem to wrap his foot around the ball like you.
Well, either find somebody who's maybe good at that technique. The technique that I learned was when I was at Chelsea and I was with David Luiz. He had something. It's not similar, but he had something. So he explained me a bit like how he did it, but the way he did it wasn't. I wasn't able to do that with my body shape, because everybody's different. But I found the sort of technique that works for me and where I don't hurt myself, and I just, practice, put the wall there, and then, do it, and now it becomes natural, So I don't know. It's obviously it's practice, and you will get frustrated sometimes, but you need to keep doing it till it eventually works, and the more times you do it, the easier it gets.
I feel like this is sort of what we spoke about earlier, but I know a fan has asked, if you could start your career again, would you, for one? And what team would you join to start?
I wouldn't change it.
You change it?
No, my life is good as it is, There's ups and downs in life, and the path that I took also prepared me for other things in life, There's not able about, you can talk about City only good. But there's moments that's been hard, I've been away since 14 for my parents, lived by myself. Had some down moments, you know. Also learned how to deal with not playing at Chelsea as a young man, I would say. And you need these moments. You can't just say like, "Oh, my life is perfect." That's unfortunately not how it works. I wouldn't also not change it, because these are the events that I needed to be where I become now. I'm happy with my life and what I'm doing as a person, and I don't say I'm perfect, but I'm content with myself, and that for me is more than enough.
Right, we've got some from Instagram. Who is City's best player in history?
It depends how you look at it, I guess. You know, I'm unfortunately I didn't have I couldn't even see like the team in the 60s who did them really well, so I can't speak about them, you know. Obviously you have like the Colin Bell stand, and a lot of the older generation, they always say he's been the best player, but then you have a second generation where they say Kun or David or maybe myself or Vinny. You know, it's a personal question. I think if you think football-wise, I would say David is probably, the way that he plays football and understands football is probably the best for me, because the way that he is, you can't get the ball, control over the tempo. So it depends how you look at it. And maybe for Paul, it's like Kun, you know, he's a striker. It's different, you know, but I think for me, in a sense, is David.
I guess it's like you said, it's dependent on the person.
It's a personal question, and there's no wrong answers, because football is emotion, is passion. So.
And most times, if you played in that position, you'll pick somebody else that's played in that position, because you appreciate how difficult it is as well.
Yeah, but it's like I said, you can't have really bad answers, you know, because it can be a defender, and you know the emotion somebody gets from that player, that's your feeling, and that's good.
Who was your idol growing up?
Michael Owen.
Okay, interesting. Who's your best friend in the team?
Oh, honestly, we have a good group. I would say for the moment, the guys that I'm seeing more regular is probably Nathan, Kova, Manu, but that's also based on personnel, but also family situation.
Yeah.
They have little kids, they live close to me, schooling situations. So, but then I feel like I'm all right with most of the people. So, you know, but that's, you know, based on personal situations more than preference.
What's the best piece of advice you ever got?
Oh, I don't know.
There's a lot, right?
I don't know. Advice. I would say listen to yourself. Do what thing makes you happy. There's a lot of people pressure you in certain situations, and you should do this, you should do that. But then I feel if you make choices in your life yourself, you'll be more satisfied, I guess, with the way you're dealing, even if it's good or bad, because it's your decision. I feel like people get pressurized into certain things or situations, especially when you're younger, from the outside world. So I feel, you know, you can't control everything, but I feel when you make a decision yourself,
you're responsible for it.
Yeah. That's a perfect answer for me.
And even if it doesn't go well, you can't blame anybody else as well. You've got to learn from that, because you've made that decision, you know.
And finally, now, I know you're excited, but how excited are you for Oasis getting back together?
It's cool, isn't it? Well, I'm going to be very honest. Obviously, I think I'm a little bit too young to get when they were together. I was just born in 91, so when they
Makes
were...
me feel even older now, thanks, Gab.
But what I have to say, when I came here, and obviously there's such a big part of the club, you see how big it is and how big they are in England. And obviously we saw Noel quite sometimes, and you know, I think the buzz it will give in everybody, and obviously Manchester, but outside is gonna be massive, you know. I hope I will be able to see one of the concerts. Maybe I have to try and get some tickets.
I'm sure you'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll be able to speak. You can ask Noel.
Well, this should play. If we would win the title, this should play in Manchester, the parade.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be absolutely for
We
that.
have to push for that.
Right, so what we do is the person previously on the podcast asks a question without knowing who's next.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is ask you the question, and then if you could think of a question for the next person. So Alex Greenwood wants to know, what position did you start your career in?
Striker.
Striker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she did say, like, you moved back.
Yeah, well, that's why Michael Owen was my idol. Obviously, we played 7-a-side, and you play like the keeper 3-1-2.
Yeah.
And I was really small, and I was quite quick at the time. So I was quite a bit similar till I was like 15, 16. And then I played more in the midfield already at 13, 14. But then I grew quite a bit. But then, that was, my family were Liverpool supporters, and Michael Owen was similar. So that's why it comes from.
Do you went from being like a nippy striker to what we have now?
I'm not nippy anymore, am I?
And what would your question be, or what's your question for the next person?
Oh, that's a good question.
Where you want to brainstorm with Paul?
Could be anything, just not football.
Okay. What are the most 3 important decisions in your life that you made?
I think that could be the best one yet,
Yeah, that's very solid. Kevin, thank you very much
Thank
for joining
you.
us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
The unbeatable official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.